Hi everyone, welcome to the video, welcome to the channel. Today we're tuning 3 cars for A-Class. So starting off with car number 1, we've got the 2011 Alfa Romeo Giulietta in A-Class, so let's hop into the build. Right lads, no messing about, straight into performance. So in the upgrade shop we've got the race exhaust, the sport air filter, race fuel system, race ignition and a race single turbo. Flywheel is on sport, camshaft are race, valves are race, and the displacement is race. Platform and handling, we've got race brakes, front and rear anti-roll bars, both race, spring and dampers race, and the weight reduction race. Tyres, I've gone for the max front tyre width and the max rear tyre width, and a race tyre compound. So wheels, I've got these. These are the Pro Race ones. Again, these are the lightest wheels. Drivetrain, race transmission, race differential, race clutch, and a race driveline. The rear wing is race and so is the front bumper. Conversions, we have converted to a rear wheel drive car. So let's hop into the tune. The tune is 31.5 psi front, 31.0 on the rear. Gearing, final drive, I've gone for 3.47. These are the remaining figures, so please feel free to pause the video or screenshot. Camber, I've gone for negative 1.5 on the front, negative 1.3 on the rear. Front toe 0, but the rear toe I've gone for 0.1 negative. It just aids with that stability coming out of corners. And the front casters at 5.5. Anti-roll bars 16.16 on the front and 14.44 on the rear. Springs 693.3 front and 640 pounds on the rear. And the ride height is leveled out at 5.8 inches on the front and 5.8 on the rear. Dampers 3.6 front and 3.5 on the rear for bump, and rebounds 11.2 and 10.8. Roll centre height, I've actually had to touch these. I've gone for 1.6 on the front and 0.8 on the rear. Anti-dive minus 10.3 on the front and minus 16 on the rear. Maxed out front and rear aerodynamics, £100 on the front and 200 on the rear. Braking balance, 49% and the pressure's at 150. And the differential, the acceleration's at 48% and 4% decel on the rear. So that's car 1 done and dusted. Let's hop into car number 2. Car number 2 is the 2002 Mazda RX-7. It's the Spirit R Type A version. So let's hop into the build. Fuel and air is completely stock, no upgrades there, but we do have the street, flywheel, and a race rotor and compression. So with platform and handling, we have race brakes. We also have race front and rear anti-roll bars, race springs and dampers, and a race weight reduction. Front tyre width is maxed out 255 and 305mm on the rear, again maxed out, and we have a race tyre compound. Alloys, you probably know the drill, Pro Race ones, again the lightest alloys you can get. Drivetrain, we have the transmission on race, the differential on race, and the driveline on race. Aero and appearance, we've got the rear wing on race and the front bumper race, and I've actually opted for this hood. Conversions are completely stock, so let's hop into the build itself. Starting with tyres as always, 29.5 psi front, 29.5 on the rear. Next is gearing, the final drive's at 4.38. These are the remaining numbers, so again, screenshot or pause. Alignment, negative 1.6 on the front, negative 1.2 on the rear, 0.0 toe, and the caster at 5.0. Roll bars, 28.46 on the front, 26.54 on the rear. Next is springs. We've gone for the front of 522.6 on the front and 453.6 on the rear. Ride height, 7.6 inches front and 7.6 inches rear. Again, just helps with those curbs. Bump stiffness, they are matched at 3.8 and 3.8. And rebound stiffness is at 12 and 12. Roll center height, 0 front and 0 rear. Anti-dive on the front, we've got 10.6%, and anti-squat, we've got 10.4%. So the aerodynamics, the front is completely maxed out, likewise is the rear. Brake balance, 50%, and the braking pressure is at 150%. and acceleration is 100 and deceleration is 0. So that's build number 2. Let's hop into the third and final build. And now the last and final A-Class car that I'm using, it's the 2019 Subaru STI, the S209 version. This is just a grip machine. I've stuck the wide body kit on so it looks slick and it sounds outrageous. So let's hop into the build. So hopping into performance, we've got the sports exhaust. In fuel and air, and in engine we have nothing. Platform and handling, we have race brakes, front and rear race anti-roll bars. The dampers and springs are race and the race weight reduction. Tyres, max tyre width front and max tyre width on the rear, and we've opted for a race compound. This build is more predominantly for smaller, shorter tracks. Wheels, I've left them completely stock. I haven't changed the alloys at all. Drivetrain, we've got a race transmission, race differential, and a street driveline. Aero and appearance, the only thing we can touch is the rear wing, and that is on race. And we have the wide body kit, because why not? So let's hop underneath. Now we've got tyres. Tyre pressure on the front's 33.0, and the rear tyre pressure is 31.5. Gearing 4.3 is the final drive. Remember, this is a grip build, so the top speed's only 149 mph an hour. But don't get it twisted, you can still use this on tracks that do have long straights, because it will make up for it in the corners. Alignment -1.4 on the front and -1.5 on the rear. Toe is 0.0 and the caster is 5.0. Anti-roll bars 18.7 on the front and 20.72 on the rear. Springs, the front springs are stiffer than the rear. I've gone for 704.4 pounds on the front and 668.5 on the rear. Again, just a couple of notches from the minimum. On the ride height, 7.0 and 7.4. On damping, the bump stiffness is 3.4 on the front and 3.6 on the rear. Rebound stiffness, I've absolutely conked it out, maxed out at 13, and the rear is 12.6. It just helps with a bit of stability going into faster corners. The roll center height, 0 and 0. The anti-dives, 8.0. And -5.5 anti-squat. Aero, I've gone for max front aero and 410 pounds on the rear. Braking balance, 50%, and the braking pressure is 150. Feel free to adjust if you wish. And last but not least, we've got the differential. Now, this is four-wheel drive, so you do have a front and a rear differential to play with. So we've got 100% max on the front and a 0 decel. The rear, we have 100 acceleration, but 20% decel. And the torque, 87%. So this video's coming to an end. Thank you all so much for watching. Just a quick little verdict from me. I love this Subaru. I think this is, for me, the standout out of the two other tunes. It's such a fun car to drive. It's got so much grip. Yeah, it's not the quickest down the straight, but the noise and the looks, it's just 10 out of 10 for me. The Alfa Romeo is a car that no one uses, so that obscurity, the no one using that car and you coming in the lobby and setting some decent times in it, it's always a fun factor. And the Mazda RX-7, let's be honest, is a fan favourite. We all love that car, so it has been really fun in these A-Class hoppers. Hopefully I've raced against some of you, and hopefully some of you have beaten me. So as always, take care of yourselves, and stay tuned for more.